I don't come again on the kill us now. Up. Now we dey use and they go. Yes, now. Hope day, my people. Hope day. As you they watch me so, make sure say you share this video so that the whole world will see them. Leave your comment for the comment section after you don't watch the video. Yes. Don't forget, say we have national actor of this platform. Now be Laba Broom Laba. People don't bust come out. They come make us to understand the kind of hope when they for Peter Obi to claim him mandate back when they steal. My people, I will leave una now make una just listen and see the hope when these people give us. Say Peter Obi will take collect him mandate back. Now be this so not all.
Keep talking about the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal and the chances of the Labour Party winning their mandate back because it is actually the only hope available right now to recover the mandate. Right now, there's nothing else Nigerians can do except hope that with all the massive evidence that proved the election was rigged, that the court will accept that evidence without relying on technicality to dismiss the petition. Like in the other video where we showed that INEC will be coming to court with evidence that the Labour Party will rely on to prove they won the election. This time, it is what Bola Tinubu and co did before that the legal team of P2B and the Labour Party will repeat in order to stand a very high chance of winning. This is because INEC is already in contempt of court. They refuse to allow the Labour Party legal team to inspect electoral materials and give them all the materials that they require to prove their case. The reason INEC refused them access to these materials and the Beavers information is obvious. They want to protect the rigging that they did, and without seeing INEC copies of result sheets and ballot papers, the judges might feel unconvinced, and you don't want to give them the room to use technicality to strike off the petition. Proving the heights that happened during the presidential election is very easy if all the parties have an open mind or if there's a level playing ground, but you can never tell with these people. Some are thinking about the country while others are thinking about their pockets. A typical example of how easy it is to spot the evidence. Look at these results from Rivers State. Obviously, the one on the right is the original result that Labour Party got in that polling unit on election day. The one on the left is an example of their so-called win. Someone just wrote over the 588 votes that Labour Party scored to 0, and it was uploaded to IREV. So the evidence is massive. The judges can even research this by themselves. Anyone can access the results on IREV. There's also circumstantial evidence they can rely on. Remember, it is the Labour Party that is contesting the results as declared by INEC. So the court will expect them to prove it 100%. On INEC's side, they will just be defensive to protect the heights that they supervised and executed. That's why INEC and APC objected to the use of forensic experts by the Labour Party legal team to prove their case. So expect the court to put the burden of proof 100% on the Labour Party, even in the face of denial of electoral materials by INEC as ordered by the court. In fact, the judges should be angry at any person that disobeys their order. INEC has already done that by disobeying the order of the court. If the court lowers the standard for INEC, that will mean that they are acting as script. This will also fall in line with the laughable objections that the trio of Tinubu, APC and INEC have raised against P2B's petition. They are all hoping on technicality, a situation where a judge will say, they tried but they couldn't prove their case. Therefore, no, this is not what Nigeria needs right now. The next election will be worse. In this case, they even tried to conduct election and people cast their votes. Next time, they won't allow people to vote, so you won't have evidence in the first place. Without evidence, you can't go to court. This is exactly what they did in the governorship election in Lagos State. They made sure elections didn't hold in the strongholds of the Labour Party. If they knew that Labour Party would win Lagos presidential election with such a massive landslide, they would have deployed more thugs like they did in the Cuba elections to make sure that people don't vote. They learned that the fact that they blocked upload of real results while INEC announced rigged results, that it isn't the end of the election because the people they stole their votes are now in court hoping to recover their mandate. It would have been a different case if they didn't have copies of the real results. What will they present in court to prove that they actually won the election? Now, to what Tinubu and co did in the past that P2B's legal team will try to repeat in order to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the election was rigged, that INEC intentionally suppressed their votes, in many cases increased the votes of APC. Like in this case already shown here, where APC scored 12 votes and it was increased to 170. Remember that P2B and the Labour Party are contesting the results in 21 states. If they are able to prove their case and the lawful votes are counted, that will catapult P2B to the first position, instead of the third position that INEC gave him. Who knows where Bola Tinubu will end after the recalculation of the lawful votes? Second, third. Anyway, let's see the story. Credit to Teddy, who revealed this. It happened after the 2007 general election. Tinubu and co were in the ACN then, and this was during the Maurice Iwu era. Prior to this year's presidential election, the 2007 presidential election was referred to as the worst election in Nigeria's history. But it looks like the 2023 presidential election is now competing with it. Upon all the technology deployed for the conduct of this election, they still found a way to steal the votes and rig the election in their favor. According to Osibajo, because he is the one telling the story, it seems like an excerpt from his book, which he launched recently, seen here with Chimamanda at the book launch. Continuing, Osibajo said that when the ACN was rigged out in Osun, Ekiti, Ondo, and Edo State election, Tinubu told him to find forensic experts in the UK that would prove that the ballots were thumbprinted by a few persons. They ended up getting the services of 50 UK policemen and eventually proved that all the places where they lost the election was as a result of multiple thumbprinting of the ballots by a few individuals. Not that Tinubu and co were the first to use forensic experts. P2B did it prior before he won back his mandate, but the question remains, why does Tinubu oppose the use of forensic experts today when he himself has benefited from it in the past? Although he wasn't on the ballot, but his allies, associates and his party benefited from the use of forensic experts. Obviously it is because he's a direct beneficiary of the rigging, so he's protecting himself from exposure that he rigged the election, that he didn't win. The worst part is that Buhari is the chief enabler in all this. Why is he pretending that the election was free and fair? Even Yar'Adua accepted that the election that brought him to power was rigged, and Buhari contested the same election in court. What has changed? The reason is very simple, and also why people voted for Buhari in 2015 wasn't just because of the non-performance of the PDP-led administration, but because many believe that Buhari has been criticizing corruption in government since the Obasanjo administration, and during his time as the chief dictator in the military regime that he led. Many people were convinced that Buhari wouldn't stand by and watch corruption fester. Little did they know that Buhari was criticizing corruption all these years because he wasn't the one benefiting. Otherwise, how would they explain the level of corruption under this administration? Not just corruption that involves stealing of money, but open violations of the law and refusal to obey court orders. Who would have thought that Buhari would support the massive rigging that happened during the presidential election? Someone that have gone to court many times claiming the election was rigged against him, so rigging is acceptable if Buhari, his allies, and the party are the beneficiaries. Many things happen, and when you compare it to what Buhari said in the past, you will see a sharp contrast, It's all make-believe. They present a different posture to make people feel they are fighting for the masses, but when they get power, they show their true colors. This is the kind of legacy that Buhari will leave behind, a legacy of rigged elections, battered economy, worsening insecurity, and so many others too numerous to mention here.
Why is this country used that things must be wasted? We spend nearly $1 billion for this mess. People have just saved the money.
It will be spot on. Why did Buhari waste more than 300 billion naira on this election? They should have used the money to service many debts or, build infrastructure that Nigeria needs, instead of wasting it on an election that is this flawed. Just appoint someone as your successor and Nigerians will protest and go back home instead of this sham. That's why it looks like Buhari doesn't care about legacy, because he has already said that if they disturb him in Daura, that he will go to Niger Republic and leave. So whatever is happening in Nigeria, he doesn't care. He will go to another country to live and avoid all the troubles at home. All the troubles that he couldn't solve in 8 years, or rather, he didn't bother to solve them because he really didn't care. If he really cared, the people causing insecurity in his home state and other parts of Nigeria can be more powerful than Nigeria's security personnel. One might not be wrong to say that Buhari is selfish because he has continued going abroad for medical treatment when the same type of services are not available to Nigerians. And sometimes medical practitioners go on strike. He even couldn't equip the Asoro Clinic to take over his medical treatment upon all the massive budgets. Leaders must lead by example. He's going abroad for medical treatment with huge obstacles when Nigerian businessmen are looking for foreign exchange to conduct their business. Buhari demarketed APC to the extent that they lost many states where he won in 2019, which makes one to wonder where Bola Tinubu got his votes from. From the Labour Party, of course. The Labour Party demystified the corner and block votes. Jonathan also did it in 2011, but with the Southwest votes. Labour Party did it with Lagos alone, so they proved that northern block votes don't matter in a presidential election, especially when you have 2 or 3 candidates splitting the votes up north. P2P also proved that you can run a campaign without renting crowd to attend rallies, and the number of votes you will get in a state is not determined by how massive your campaign rally was. Someone that they say they will teach lessons, who is actually learning the lessons now.
Yes, as you don't watch her now, you see say that true at the talk. Peter Obi go win according to these people when talker, not be me talker. The only thing you need to do now for Nigeria to move forward, share this video. Leave your comment for the comment section. Like it. Una do well.